Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Last time, in the end, we discussed about neuromuscular junction. Neuromuscular junction. Today about neuromuscular transmission. Neuromuscular transmission. I told you yesterday that activity of skeletal muscle is controlled by central nervous system through somatic motor nerve fibers. Somatic motor nerve fibers. You see the motor nerve terminal having vesicles containing acetylcholine. They are mitochondria, right here. And you see here, this is calcium enters the voltage-gated calcium channel. These are the voltage-gated calcium channels. Now, when motor nerve impulse or action potential reaches the nerve terminal or the end foot, there is depolarization of the membrane of the nerve terminal. There is depolarization of the membrane of the nerve terminal. This causes opening of voltage-gated calcium channels. It causes opening of voltage-gated calcium channels. So calcium ions diffuse from the synaptic space into the nerve terminal. So calcium ions diffuse to these voltage with calcium channels into the nerve terminal or end foot. Calcium ions, these combine, these activate calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase. So calcium ions activate calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase. When this protein kinase is activated, a protein synapsin is phosphorylated. So activation, release of calcium into the motor nerve terminal, it activates calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase. When this protein kinase is activated, it causes phosphorylation of a protein called synapsin. When this protein synapsin is phosphorylated, it becomes activated there is release of about 125 vesicles from the cytoskeleton. These acetylcholine vesicles are bound with the cytoskeleton, and with the activation of phosphorylation of the protein synapsin, there is release of about 125 acetylcholine vesicles. So these vesicles, these become free from the cytoskeleton. And these move towards the membrane of the nerve terminal. These fuse with the membrane of nerve terminal, and rupture to release acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft or synaptic space. Is release of acetylcholine into synaptic cleft, synaptic space by exocytosis. So by exocytosis, the acetylcholine vesicles fuse with the membrane of nerve terminal rupture to release acetylcholine into the synaptic space or synaptic cleft. So this is the release of acetylcholine from the motor nerve terminal. I again repeat, action potential or motor nerve impulse reaches the nerve terminal or end foot. There is depolarization of the membrane of the nerve terminal. There is depolarization of the membrane of the nerve terminal, and this causes opening of voltage-gated calcium channels. Opening of voltage-gated calcium channels. Calcium ions diffuse into the nerve terminal. They diffuse into the nerve terminal. And these calcium ions activate calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase. So this is activation of calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase. And with this activation, there is a phosphorylation, activation of the protein synapsin. When protein synapsin is activated, there is release of acetylcholine vesicles from the cytoskeleton. So about 125 vesicles become free from the cytoskeleton. And these vesicles move towards the membrane of the nerve terminal. These fuse with the membrane of nerve terminal. These rupture by exocytosis. These rupture by exocytosis to release acetylcholine into the synaptic space or synaptic cleft. So this is the release of the acetylcholine from the motor nerve terminal when action potential or nerve impulse reaches the nerve terminal. Acetylcholine moves towards the muscle membrane, where acetylcholine it binds with the acetylcholine receptors. Acetylcholine it binds with the acetylcholine receptors. So these acetylcholine receptors are portion of acetylcholine gated channels. These are part of acetylcholine gated channels. Acetylcholine gated channels. So these receptors have a molecular weight of 275,000. These acetylcholine receptors have a molecular weight of 275,000. Acetylcholine receptor, which is a part of acetylcholine gated channel, has 5 subunits. So there are 5 subunits of the acetylcholine gated channel. So 5 subunits of the acetylcholine gated channels. 2 alpha, 1 beta, 1 delta, and 1 epsilon. 1 epsilon. So there are 5 subunits in the acetylcholine gated channels. So 5 subunits in the acetylcholine gated channels: 2 alpha, 1 beta, 1 delta, and 1 epsilon subunit. This is the acetylcholine gated channel. Right? And acetylcholine binds with the receptor portion of the channel, and this channel has got 5 units, 2 alpha, 1 beta, 1 delta, and 1 epsilon. Now when there is binding of acetylcholine with the receptor portion of acetylcholine gated channels, there is opening of these channels. These are ketone channels. These are ketone channels. And with the opening of these channels, there is diffusion of ketones. Diffusion of ketones. Mainly the sodium ions. Mainly the sodium ions. So there is inward diffusion of sodium ions through the activated or open acetylcholine gated channels. So inward diffusion of sodium ions. You see? There is inward diffusion of sodium ions through these channels. Now with the diffusion of sodium ions, the sodium influx, there is a localized change in the membrane potential. So with the inward diffusion of sodium ions through acetylcholine gated channels, there is a localized change in the membrane potential, and this is called end plate potential. So end plate potential is produced due to sodium influx. End plate potential is produced due to sodium influx, and there is a localized change in the membrane potential, which is called end plate potential. EPP, end plate potential. Right? So I again repeat that acetylcholine is released from the motor nerve terminal. It will diffuse towards the acetylcholine receptors. There is binding of the acetylcholine with the receptor. This causes opening of acetylcholine gated channels. These channels are open. Through these channels, ketone can pass. Right? There is sodium influx. With this sodium influx, it causes localized change in the membrane potential, and this localized change in the membrane potential is called end plate potential. End plate potential. What are the features of end plate potential? Features of end plate potential. Its voltage is 50 to 75 millivolt. Its voltage is 50 to 75 millivolt. It is the localized potential, non-propagating. It is a localized potential, non-propagating. It has no refractory period. No refractory period. It is decremental with distance. It is decremental with distance. It is graded. It is graded. That is, its voltage depends upon the quantity of acetylcholine released. Its voltage depends upon the quantity of acetylcholine released. I am telling you about the properties of the end plate potential, localized change in the membrane potential due to sodium influx. Its voltage is 50 to 75 millivolts. It is non-propagating. It is decremental with distance. With distance, it decreases. Right? It has no refractive period. and it is graded. Its voltage depends upon the quantity of acetylcholine released. So the purpose of end plate potential is to bring the membrane potential in the muscle fiber from the resting value of minus 90 millivolts to minus 65 millivolt, which is the threshold of activation. What is the purpose of the end plate potential? Its purpose is to bring the membrane potential of the muscle fiber from its resting value of minus 90 millivolts to minus 65 millivolt, which is the threshold of activation or excitation. So minus 90 millivolts is the resting membrane potential in the muscle fiber. And what is the threshold of excitation? Minus 65 millivolt. Right? So the purpose of the EPP is to bring the membrane potential in the muscle fiber from its resting value of minus 90 millivolts to minus 65 millivolt, which is the threshold of activation or threshold of excitation. So how much change of voltage is required to bring the resting membrane potential value to the threshold of excitation from minus 90 to minus 65? This change in the potential is required to bring the membrane potential to the threshold of excitation, and that is 25 millivolt. So a change of 25 millivolt is required to bring the membrane potential from resting value to the threshold of excitation, that is 25 millivolt, minus 90 to minus 65 millivolt. So required voltage change is 25 millivolt. And what is the voltage of EPP? Minus 50 to 75 millivolt. This is the voltage of EPP, that is 50 to 75 millivolt. What is the required change in the voltage? 25 millivolt. And what is the voltage of EPP? 50 to 75 millivolt. So the voltage of EPP is 2 times or 3 times greater than the voltage required for activation or excitation or for generation of action potential. So the voltage of end plate potential is 2 times or 3 times greater than the voltage required to reach the threshold value, that is minus 65 millivolt. At this threshold value, action potential is produced in the muscle. So I again repeat, the purpose of end plate potential is to bring the membrane potential of the muscle fiber from its resting value to the threshold of excitation, that is minus 65 millivolt. The change in the voltage required is 25 millivolt. Is 25 millivolt. But how much is the voltage of end plate potential produced? 50 to 75 millivolt. So it is twice or thrice the required change in the voltage. It is twice or thrice the required change in the voltage. And this is called safety factor. Safety factor. So in the voltage of end plate potential, there is safety factor to ensure the neuromuscular transmission. So in the voltage of EPP, there is safety factor to ensure neuromuscular transmission. Required change in the voltage is 25 millivolt. And what is the voltage of EPP? 50 to 75 millivolt. It is twice or thrice than the required change in the voltage. Right? And this is the safety factor to ensure the neuromuscular transmission. You see here, this is plus minus resting membrane potential. And because of the change in the membrane potential, that is called end plate potential, inside become positive, also become negative. Right? And that will be the action potential. But before that, there is EPP, its voltage 50 to 75 millivolt. It is twice or thrice that is required to open the voltage gated sodium channel. Right? And the voltage becomes -65, there is opening of the voltage gated sodium channel. So this is the importance of the end plate potential, which causes generation of action potential in the muscle. So we're seeing that in this neuromuscular transmission, nerve impulse action potential reaches the nerve terminal, release of acetylcholine occurs, it causes influx of sodium to produce a localized change in the membrane potential, that is end plate potential. And then because of the end plate potential, the membrane potential from its resting value of -90 millivolts, it reaches -65 millivolts. There is opening of voltage gated sodium channels in the muscle membrane. And this causes generation of action potential in the muscle fiber. So this is the mechanism of the generation of the action potential in the muscle fiber. Right? And this is the mechanism of the neuromuscular transmission. Acetylcholine is allowed to remain bound with the receptors only for a few milliseconds. Acetylcholine is allowed to remain bound with the receptors only for a few seconds. Only for a few seconds. Some of it will diffuse out, and remaining acetylcholine is degraded by the enzyme acetylcholine esterase. So remaining is degraded, destroyed by the enzyme acetylcholine esterase. I told you acetylcholine is allowed to remain bound with the receptor only for a few milliseconds. Some of it will diffuse out from the receptors. The remaining is degraded, broken down by the enzyme acetylcholine esterase present in the subneural clefts. So this is the mechanism of the neuromuscular transmission. I told you when because of the end plate potential, membrane potential reaches from its resting value to the threshold of excitation, that minus 65 millivolt, there is production of action potential in the muscle fiber. This is the resting membrane potential, and this is the end plate potential. But the voltage of end plate potential is not sufficient. When it is of this much voltage, then you see the spike potential is produced in the muscle fiber. So this is very low voltage of the end plate potential, which is not able to produce action potential. So you see, very low voltage of the end plate potential, not able to produce action potential in the muscle fiber. So this low voltage of end plate potential is present in a disease which is called myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis, we discuss later in detail. So low voltage of EPP is present in a condition with disease condition which is called myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis. I told you during transmission of one nerve impulse, one action potential, how many vesicles of acetylcholine are released or broken? 125. 125. And keep in mind, in the nerve terminal, the number of vesicles present are 300,000. So 300,000 vesicles of acetylcholine are present in a single motor nerve terminal or end foot, out of which in one nerve impulse transmission about 125 vesicles are broken to release acetylcholine. In each vesicle, there are 10,000 molecules of acetylcholine present. In one vesicle, 10,000 molecules of acetylcholine present. Size of each vesicle is about 40 nanometer. 40 nanometer is the size of each acetylcholine vesicle. There is, acetylcholine is synthesized in the nerve terminal or the end foot. You see, this is the motor nerve terminal or the end foot, and acetylcholine is synthesized in this. Mitochondria provide energy or acetyl-CoA. It binds with choline, acetyl-CoA. It binds with choline to form acetylcholine, which is then taken into the vesicle to be stored in the vesicle. Right? So this is the reaction that acetylcholine is synthesized. Acetyl-CoA provided by the mitochondria bind with choline to form acetylcholine. So when there is rupture of the vesicles to release acetylcholine, right? Acetylcholine bind with the receptors for a few milliseconds, and then the enzyme acetylcholine esterase, it breaks down acetylcholine, this is the enzyme, into acetate and choline. Right? The enzyme acetylcholine esterase, it breaks down the acetylcholine into choline and acetate. Choline is taken back into the nerve terminal to be reused. Right? So by the activity of the enzyme acetylcholine esterase, acetylcholine is broken into acetate and choline. Choline is taken up by the nerve terminal to be reused in the synthesis of the acetylcholine. Now, moreover, vesicles are also recycled. These are also reformed. So this is the vesicle broken to release acetylcholine. So this is after the release of acetylcholine, a pit is formed. So after the rupture and release of acetylcholine by exocytosis, a pit is formed instead of the vesicle. Now in the wall of this pit, a protein, a contractile protein, clathrin is present. Protein clathrin is present so in the wall of this ruptured vesicle, a protein clathrin is present, and this protein clathrin is a contractile protein. It will contract, so the vesicle is reformed. So in this way, the vesicle is reformed or recycled. I can again repeat that after the rupture of the vesicle, release of acetylcholine. These pits are formed in the membrane of nerve terminal, right? And then the clathrin protein, which is in the wall of the vesicle, wall of this pit, these contract, and the vesicle is completed, reformed, and then pass it into the nerve terminal. There is recycling of choline. There is also recycling of the ruptured vesicles to form new vesicles. You can also see these vesicles fuse with the membrane of nerve terminal, rupture to release acetylcholine. So in this membrane there will be pits are formed after the rupture of the vesicle. In the wall of these pits or broken vesicles, ruptured vesicle, the protein clathrin is present. This protein is contractile in nature. This protein contracts, so the vesicles are reformed, and then these are taken into the nerve terminal, right? So in this way, the vesicles are reformed or recycled, right? So this was about the mechanism of the neuromuscular transmission, right? It was very clear about this mechanism, and then the safety factor to ensure neuromuscular transmission, that is, the safety factor is the voltage of end plate potential produced is 2 to 3 times greater than the required voltage to reach the membrane potential, that is the threshold potential, threshold for activation. And this is a safety factor to ensure the neuromuscular transmission. Thank you.